right, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Coach Mike and OB podcast. This is going to be, I think, our sixth episode. Been not as consistent as we'd like to be because of personal life stuff. A lot of weddings, a lot of planning going on in my life, unfortunately. So I've been not able to be here as often as I'd like. But we're gonna have pretty good talking points today. We're gonna be talking about the All Star break, who's made the team, who got snubbed, who's on the reserves, and then we'll talk about trade deadline stuff, and then we'll talk about a certain gentleman that made the All Star team this year that has been absolutely killing it over the past couple of games. So, Coach Mike, All Star team, we've got Kevin Durant obviously not playing, replaced by Jason Tatum. Um, Out of these teams, Joel Embiid, Jason, Andrew Wiggins, and Trey Young versus Giannis, Curry, DeRozan, LeBron, and Jokic. Who do you think is going to be the winner of that starting five?
I mean, it seems to be pretty obvious. I would say Team LeBron is pretty freaking stacked.
They're
I mean,
stacked.
they got everything. They got length, they got shooting, they have veteran leadership. I mean, they got everything. So I'm
They,
going with Team LeBron.
I
If Durant was playing on the other team with Embiid, maybe they'd have a little bit of a shot. But honestly,
I
I think it's gonna come down to it. I don't know.
I mean, you've got LeBron. He's been playing out of his mind this year. You've got Giannis. He just dropped another 50 piece last night. From when we were recording this, DeMar DeRozan has been on an absolute tear. 6 35-point game. 6 games with 35 points with 50% shooting or more in a row, and Steph has just been being Steph lately. And Jokic, obviously, we all know what he can do. Trey Young has not been playing his best. He had a good game last night, but Andrew Wiggins, he was a he was a sneaky person to slide in there. Jason Tatum got the replacement. John Morant, he's young. I like where his career's going. And Joel Embiid, between Jokic and Joel, that's probably going to be the best matchup. I don't know who's going to guard DeRozan in that mid range. Who's going to stop Steph on the 3 point line? It's going to be hard. No one's going to stop Giannis. No one on that. No one there. Andrew Wiggins isn't stopping Giannis. He's going to be up against LeBron most likely. Jason Tatum's not stopping Giannis. So it's gonna be a blowout in my opinion. Based off starters, the team LeBron just is so stacked.
Yeah, they're a different level. I mean, I'm looking at it and it's based, like you said, based on the starters. I mean, team LeBron, his team is he's probably going to be going for 4 years in a row because he's every time he's been a captain, he's won every time. So
Mm-hmm.
I think he's going to win it for the fourth time again. His team is stacked, and there's a couple of guys questionable on the other team that, like, Andrew Wiggins was an all-star. I mean, having a great year, don't get me wrong. Do I think he should have been a starter? No. Trey Young, like you said, he's kind of having an up and down year. Obviously, I believe he's a top 3 point guard in the East
Mm-hmm.
right now. But I mean, he's doing his thing. This format Obrakta to me is just, I don't really like it. It's kind of like pickup style, and I'm not really fond of it. I liked it when it was West versus East and kept it old school like that. But now it's just kind of everybody's jumping around and whatnot. But
Well,
everybody on LeBron's team's having a phenomenal year.
yeah.
Phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal year. Every one of them.
So we got those are our starters, but then we go down to our reserves. Lamelo Ball. What do you think about him being a reserve?
I think it's well deserved. I mean, he wasn't at first until I forget who got injured, and then he replaced him. But Lamelo is having a phenomenal year. I mean, he's really doing everything for the Hornets right now. I mean, he's assisting, he's scoring. I mean, he's really the future of that team, and he's having an outstanding year. He gets his teammates involved really well. I mean, because of him, that's the true reason I believe that, guys like Miles Turner um have really stepped it up like incredibly. And that's why he's really making an impact with that. I'm sorry, not Miles Turner, Miles Bridges, my bad. Miles Bridges is having a phenomenal year and arguably could have been an all-star reserve simply because LaMelo Ball has been just an amazing system player. He gets everybody involved. He gets his points. He gets his assists. I mean, he's just doing a great job. So
Yep.
overall, I think it's well deserved for him. He should have been an all star in reserve in the first place, and for only being his second year in the league, that's insanely impressive
Right.
in my opinion.
And then like same with on the other side of it, Darius Garland. He's been playing really well this year as well. And this is gonna be his I don't even know.
I forget what
This is his third
third,
year in the
fourth,
league.
third, yeah, third year in the
Third year in
league.
the league. He's been playing out of his mind. He's up, from 2 years ago he was at 12 points a game, and he's averaging 20 points this year. He's averaging he's about 7% better from 40 to 47% shooting. His free throw percentage is up. His rebounds he's almost getting a whole rebound more a game. He's getting 4 more assists a game than he was a couple years ago. And so he's been
Yeah,
playing out of his mind. He's definitely improved. Happy that he got a slot to, show his hard work and ethic and where he's gotten himself to.
yeah, he's great, man. He's having a phenomenal year. Colin Sexton is hurt, and then Rubio got traded, and he's kind of had to step up to be that combo guard that they really need. Like Colin Sexton out gives him a lot more opportunity for him to have more scoring, and then Cleveland overall just having a phenomenal year. And I think that the All-Star game is held in Cleveland, so I mean, why not bring their best player there? And kudos to another Cleveland Cavalier, Jared Allen, absolutely well
Yep.
deserved to be an All-Star. James Harden's still hurt, and he replaces him, so. I think those two, and I think Cleveland in general is just having a phenomenal year. I mean, they're such a sleeper team in the East. Nobody thought they were going to do that well, and they just do really well. I mean, they got the Rookie of the Year on their team with Mobley, and then
Mm-hmm.
they're just massive. And Jared Allen's having a career year, an All-Star, amazing, prototypical center that people seem to say is lost in the NBA nowadays. He's proving that wrong. And you got Darius Garland stepping up for Colin Sexton being out. And then you got a lot of veterans on that team. You got Kevin Love, who's been there for a long time, who's kind of shaping the players like that. And then I think Rondo is still with them and whatnot. So I mean, they really have all the pieces, and I really think that I forget who the coach is on that team, but he's in contention to be coach of the year for sure. And I think this makes LeBron's decision a lot easier to go back to Cleveland. I mean, imagine inserting himself into that team, and they say it's probably going to hurt them, but I mean, with the trajectory that they're going right now in Cleveland, it's just nobody thought they were going to do this good this year, and they're
Oh,
exceeding expectations from everybody. So
yeah,
that's that.
definitely Cleveland has needed a lot of credit in what they've done this year.
Oh yeah,
Um, but then we get Zach Levine being an all-star reserve. I think he could have been a starter. He's been playing really well this year. He's been playing good the last couple years. He had that little knee twist that happened a few days ago. Seems like everything's good with him so far. He's been tweeting out stuff. He said that he was still planning on playing in the game as of right now. He looks like he's still in, and I hope we get to see him play against DeMar at some point. That'd be a fun little, you know, Chi-Town rivalry going on.
it'd be a great matchup to see those guys go at it. It'd be fun. It'd be exciting. Positive vibes and health wishes to Zach Levine. I hope he can actually, play in the All-Star game. I know he's been, like you said, he's been having knee injuries. So, and then, I agree with you. I mean, he should have been a starter. I mean, I think Trae Young's a phenomenal player, but he's having such an up and down season. I just think the Bulls have just been in that top 1 to 3 spot since the seasons began. So, I mean, I don't like Trae Young's really doing nothing. I mean, Atlanta's terrible. Like for him to even be in there is, I mean, a reserve, absolutely.
Mhm.
Starter, absolutely not, in my opinion. I think it should have been Levine. So, but overall, I think that, we said in the beginning, Team LeBron's probably going to win it, but I really think that the reserves are going to play a massive impact in this game, in the
Mm.
All-Star game for sure. And I know it's all for fun and it's all for, for the fans and everything like that. But when it comes to the fourth quarter, they turn it on. The best players in the world turn it on in the fourth quarter, and they put on a show. So
Yes, they
I'm
do.
excited to see a lot of good reserves. Ob a lot of good ones like Jimmy Butler, well deserved. He's having a phenomenal year
Hmm.
in Miami. Luka Doncic, easily and arguably a starter, but
Oh
he's
yeah.
had a real up and down year. Um, Donovan Mitchell, once again, he's just a young mid-level player that's doing phenomenal, like always. Chris Paul, absolutely well deserved. I mean, Chris Paul is just he's a Hall of Famer. He's a pass first point guard with, in my opinion, the highest IQ in the game right now. I mean, he has single-handedly led the Phoenix Suns to being the best record in the NBA and the best team in the West. And
Yep.
then one that I really am both shocked and both, you know, excited about is Fred VanVleet. I mean, you see that guy's journey and where he's came from. I mean, going from undrafted to the G League to being Kyle Lowry's backup in Toronto and being a massive vocal point for them when they won the championship when
Mhm.
Kawhi when it was over there. So kudos to Fred VanVleet. I mean, he is, he's from Illinois, he's from Rockford, so kudos to him right there. But he is just well deserved of that. I mean, he's really the
He
leader of that Raptors team right now. Who
he
that Raptors team is doing great.
yeah, he really got put on the map on that title run with Kawhi when I think he was the one, right? They put him in the box and one on Steph Curry, and they just
Mm-hmm.
have Van Fleet chasing him down.
Yeah,
That
and he did all
was
that hard work, man. All that hard
crazy.
work, and all that hard work turned into him, being the starter and getting that contract extension and being in Toronto. With him, Gary Trent Jr., Siakam's going to stay. They got some good young pieces that are long, and they're a very good defensive team. So kudos to them. If we let's pop over to the reserves for Team LeBron.
That was Team
Going,
LeBron.
oh, that was Team
That
LeBron.
was
My bad.
all Team LeBron you just mentioned.
Perfect. Then we're going on to Durant. Then moving on to Durant, LaMelo Ball we talked about already. Devin Booker. What is OB? What is the thing with Devin Booker? He is so underrated and underappreciated in this league, and he's arguably, maybe not even arguably, he's a top 2 shooting guard in the West, and maybe a top 5 in the league. Honestly, I mean, I know Chris Paul has, had a real positive impact on him and kind of been that leader role for him, and he's gotten him a lot of assists for just passing to him and getting him open and putting him in positions to be successful. But even before Chris Paul was there, Booker was putting up massive numbers, and he's still getting snubbed every year and underrated. So one of these days he will be a starter, an all-star starter. Mark my words.
I can see that happening
Yeah.
next year. I mean, he's already working towards like scoring titles. He's been killing it.
Mm-hmm.
He's definitely improved from, what was it, like 2016, 2017. We were out at the bars talking about, man, Devin Booker, he's just a shot jacker. He's just looking for points.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And now you watch him and he's, working in a rhythm with, I think Chris Paul really helped him
Yes,
find
absolutely.
find the best way for him to contribute without just shooting the ball, running off screens, being able to pass, run through a pick and roll, not just be the guy that's run down the court 1-on-5 and take a 3-point shot to try to just rack up points.
Yeah, Devin Booker is when he was with Phoenix earlier and he was putting up those big numbers, he really didn't have anybody to pass to. They didn't really have a team. Suns were terrible. Now that they got Chris Paul, they got Jay Crowder, veteran presence. They even picked up guys like JaVale McGee. DeAndre Ayton is playing at a level that I'm pretty sure he should have got a contract extension or a max deal with the Suns, and I think he's still a little pissed about that, but maybe he'll get it soon. And then you got like Malik Beasley. I mean, you got a lot of great pieces on that Suns team, and Chris Paul's kind of really molded that young team. So good for him. Rudy Gobert, I hate Rudy Gobert. He's just a big, lanky defender. He's a defensive monster. I mean, that is what it is.
Yeah.
We already talked about Levine. Here's one. This is the one that I am like really shaking my head on. Like Chris Middleton. Like I get it. Chris Middleton is putting up great numbers, and he's, you know, Giannis's Robin, or would they switch off Batman, Robin, whatever. But I don't know. I feel like Chris Middleton shouldn't have been an All-Star this year. I feel like there's a lot of other guys that should have deserved that spot compared to him. I just don't think, and it might be my ignorance, because maybe he just he doesn't get enough recognition on that Bucks team. You know, everyone's focus is on Giannis. And you know, we talk about Chris Middleton. He's a phenomenal player, and the way he's very similar to Fred VanVleet, undrafted, came up from the G League, like, you know, has really earned it to be in the NBA. But in my opinion, I just didn't think he would have been All-Star.
And looking at his numbers compared to Fred VanVleet, I didn't think Fred VanVleet was doing this well. 21 points, 7 assists, like 4 rebounds.
Yeah.
Chris Middleton, 19 points, 5 assists, 5 rebounds. I thought he was playing much better this year.
Yeah.
And when you look at him closer up, he is shooting worse this year. He's down about 3% overall. He's down about 5% for 3-point percentage. His free throws are even down a little bit. His points are down just slightly.
And you're talking about Chris Middleton?
Yeah. Turnovers are up. Rebounds are down. Assists are technically down. They're about the same. Like, he's then doing, his plus minus is the same so far from last year, but I mean, I thought he was doing a lot better than he actually seems to be doing.
Yeah.
Like, Giannis really seems to be still the light of that team, no matter like how you look at it.
Oh yeah, for sure. Another guy that I'm really, really happy that he was an All-Star this year was DeJounte Murray. He is playing out of his mind on that Spurs team. He is averaging, I think he's averaging, I don't know, look it up, but he's averaging a ton of triple doubles right now. And like, he's really the future of that Spurs team. And they're young, and DeJounte Murray is just such a versatile guard, and he's putting up like double doubles every night. And I think I don't know what he's doing in the triple double column, but he's doing a lot.
I don't know about the triple double column, but he's getting 5 more points a game roughly than last year.
Good.
Better shooting percentage. He's shooting roughly the same 3-point wise.
He's not a 3-point shooter.
He's up on rebounds. He's up from 5.5 assists to 9.5 assists. He's only
a lot,
and only increases turnovers from 1.7 to 2.4. He's up half a steal. He's up a little bit on blocks. But his plus minus, he's actually down on his plus minus compared to last year.
Yeah, but he's doing good.
But I mean, he's increased his numbers, and you know, we went and saw them the other night for Valentine's Day, and sorry, DeJounte, we got the best of you.
You know, well, I mean, you know, Spurs have one of the best offensive efficiencies in the bench from the bench side, and they're young, and of course they got Greg Popovich, which you're going to play in a system and you're going to be good regardless. So, and then you got last one on my list, Karl Anthony Towns, which I think well deserved. Doesn't get a lot of recognition nowadays anymore because, you know, he's in the Timberwolves, which they're steadily up and coming. They're probably going to make the playing game, and they're young and they're long, and they've been working hard, and they're a sleeper teamish, I would say. But Karl Anthony Towns is a versatile big man, so I'm glad he made the All-Star team.
As of right now, Timberwolves are in the 7th slot in the West.
There you go. Yeah, that's playing spot right there. I think they take the top 6 in each one, so that's good. Good for them. But yeah, that's all the starters and the reserved. So I guess my question to you will be, which team has the better bench? Team LeBron or Team Durant?
What
do you think?
I think
Team LeBron has the better bench.
You also, I think we missed Sir Draymond Green.
He's injured. He replaced somebody. Yeah, he's replacing DeJounte, I think. Yeah, he's replacing him. But yeah, Draymond Green, I mean, he just does a little bit of everything. You know, he's well deserved of that too.
So
Yeah, he's replacing yeah, DeJounte Murray's replacing him. So
okay,
he will not be participating. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, what do you think Team LeBron's bench is better?
I think LeBron's team is better through and through. Um, I mean, Luca, Jimmy, and Donovan Mitchell and Chris Paul right there. That's for possible All-Star starters just on
True.
that team alone. And when you look at Team Durant, you know, Karl Anthony Towns and Devin Booker, maybe Rudy Gobert, but Devin Booker and Karl Anthony Towns are probably your true real all-star starters on that team. Everyone else, I think, is more like a solid reserve star.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you, man. The LeBron's bench is 10 times better. I mean, the whole team is really good. And if LeBron doesn't win, I'll be extremely surprised. Let's just say that.
All right. So we all know who our starters are, but we also had a lot of changes in the league. So we're going to pull up the NBA's trade tracker. So we're going to go through from January 3rd down to February 10th. Let's look at this. So for the Lakers to trade Rondo to the Cavs, the Cavaliers got Rondo. Lakers got the draft rights to Louis Lobieri. I don't even know who that is. And the Knicks got Denzel Valentine and draft rights to a couple people. Getting rid of Rondo was probably a smart idea for the Lakers. They didn't need another ball dominant guard. Cavs could use them after losing Rubio. Knicks, I don't know where they come in getting Denzel Valentine. He's
I
just
think
kind
they've
of
already. Yeah, I think they've already released him. Ob. I mean, I think the trades so far back. I'm just like whatever about. I don't even care. I'm talking about like the ones that were like recent, like at the like close to the deadline, like the big ones. I think we should touch on because those ones starting back way ago, they're not gonna. They don't mean nothing to us.
Well, there was only like 2 before it gets into February.
Okay, good. Okay, I thought this sounded like this was gonna go down a big list, and I'm like, oh gosh, all
Well,
these small little
the list is
trades.
big, but 12 of them are on February 10th, which was like the last day.
That was okay. Good, perfect. Let's keep going. Keep it rolling.
The Jazz traded Oni to the Thunder. Thunder got Oni and a future second round pick. Nothing special there. Cam Reddish from the Hawks to the Knicks. Kevin Knox and a protected first round pick for the Hawks. Cam Reddish and Solomon Hill for the Knicks. I think that was a pretty good move. It would make RJ Barrett much happier having his old college friend back on his team. You know, I'm excited to see what Cam Reddish does. He had a real promising future, and I'd like to see how he plays in Madison Square Garden.
I'm really surprised that they traded him. He was doing really well in the Hawks.
Too. I saw that way back like, in the middle of January, and I was just like, it's like, what were they doing? What are they thinking? And they just get Kevin Knox and a protected first round pick. I think you could have gotten
not
more.
Enough.
You could have gotten more for Reddish.
And the Hawks stink anyway. Cam Reddish should have stayed there. He was really up and coming with that team, and he really wanted to be there.
Yep.
And then they traded him, which is ridiculous. So that's a bad trade on the Hawks end, in my opinion, which is why they're playing like crap this year. So there's your answer.
Forbes to the Nuggets. Nuggets got Brian Forbes or Bryn Forbes. Celtics got Bol and PJ Dozier. And then Spurs got Aaron Gomez and a second round pick. Really not much there. I'm surprised that the Nuggets gave up Bol and when you really only have one center in Jokic, and Jokic is probably one of my favorite players. But so I know you want to keep him around, and he's going to do a lot for you. But at a certain point, you're going to need another center, another big man to help carry the load for him. And I'm surprised they got rid of Bol Bol because I think he had a lot of potential. But
Oh yeah.
we'll see what he does on the Celtics and where he goes. I really don't know much about Brent Forbes.
Brent Forbes he was with Milwaukee, got a ring, went back to the Spurs, and then the Spurs traded him.
Yeah,
So
kind of a
slap in the
mid
face.
mid range play, mid average player.
Yeah, could shoot the shit out of the three. That's for sure. That's all he is. He's a shooter, man. So
Yeah,
anybody
40%
on the
shooting
net,
from the three. Yeah, so got that going for him.
yeah.
Then we go into the February trades. It's where we get Blazers and Clippers trade. The Clippers got Norman Powell and Robert Covington. The Blazers got Eric Bledsoe, Justice Winslow, and Keon Johnson.
I'd say that was an even trade for both teams.
I think so.
Yeah, I would say even trade. I think the Clippers got younger. Norman Powell and Covington are great. Norman Powell's, I think he's hurt though. Actually, he's going to be hurt for the rest of the year. But those two guys coming in to kind of give a little bit of cushion for when Paul George and Kawhi come back, I think that's a really good move for them.
Mhm.
And then I also think that to Portland, Dame, we were going to talk about it in a minute. CJ McCollum got traded
Yep.
to the Pelicans, which kudos to the Pelicans because they're really trying to revolve around Brandon Ingram and Zion when he gets better. So I think that team and Valanciunas. So I think that team's got a little bit of promise in the West in the next year or two. But I think that Damian Lillard has said it. He wants to stay in Portland, and they just weren't giving him any good pieces.
Mhm.
Got rid of those. You bring in Bledsoe, which okay, but then you got a draft pick, which I guess, and then you also have Justice Winslow, who has been bouncing around the league since he's been in Miami. So I'm hoping that he could find a home in Portland. But overall, I mean, now that I really think about it, I think the Clippers won that trade. Not by a lot, by a little.
By a little. I mean,
A little.
I still have soft spot for Eric Bledsoe from back when he was on the Clippers as a reserve, as
Under Chris Paul.
a backup for Chris Paul, and
Yeah.
he just was taken off. So I like Eric Bledsoe. I think he'll help out Dame and give him a couple minutes, and he'll be a good bench role player again for that team. But overall, I think that was kind of a nothing trade. You really didn't lose much. You didn't really gain much.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, you're not wrong.
February 7th, Cavs acquire Chris LeVert from the Pacers. So Cavs got Karis LeVert and the 2022 second round pick. And Pacers got Ricky Rubio and a first round pick, lottery protected, and 2 second round picks.
Oh, so they did get rid of Rubio. Cleveland's not messing around, OB. They ain't messing around. They got Karis LeVert. That's an amazing pickup for them.
Yep.
That Cavs team is stacked right now. Karis LeVert is one of the most underrated players in the league. He puts up numbers and he's a scoring machine. So for him to go over to that Cleveland team, and Cleveland's playing out of their mind right now. I mean, oh my God, that Cleveland won that trade by a landslide.
Yep. Yeah. Karis LeVert, 18 points on 44% shooting. Got 3.5 rebounds and about 4.5 assists a game. Just another great scorer for them. Pacers get Ricky Rubio. That's all right. They're looking for the future. They got their draft picks, and a lot more people are more interested in the second round picks. So we've been getting a lot of hidden diamonds in the rough the second round as of late.
Yep.
So I think these second round picks that have been thrown around a lot lately are going to be taken with a little bit more care and consideration.
Oh yeah,
coming
anything
up in
can
the next
happen.
few years. So I think Pacers are just kind of giving it up on where they're at now, and they're just looking for a rebuild. So getting rid of Karis LeVert is probably the right move for them.
Yeah, I agree. That's a good move.
Trailblazers with McCollum to the Pelicans. Pelicans got CJ McCollum, Larry Nance Jr., and Tony Snell.
What?
Blazers got
They got Larry Nance Jr. too?
And Tony Snell. Blazers got Josh Hart, Alexander Walker, Sederansky, and Luzoda plus
Dude, my God, Pelicans won that trade.
2022 first round protected draft pick, 2026 and 2027 second round pick, whichever is better between the teams. So I know when
Wow.
I saw this trade go down on Bleacher Report, there was a poll and who won it. I said the Pelicans won that trade. I'm like, you're getting Lance Jr. in the short term, most definitely Larry Nance Jr. and CJ McCollum and Tony Snell is definitely better. But everybody, I mean, like 90% said that the Blazers won that trade, and I don't know what they were thinking.
Because they don't know basketball. They don't understand. You get Josh Hart. Cool. You basically traded Josh Hart for CJ McCollum. Come on, dude. And then you add on Larry Nance Jr. With that, Pelicans won that by a landslide. They're building for that. You know, the Pelicans are scary right now, Brockta. They really are. I know I'm not going to go into detail because we talked about it earlier, but they are really scary. And once Zion gets back and everybody's healthy, that could be a top 5 team in the West in the next year or two, honestly, if they stay healthy. That's a landslide of a trade that the Pelicans won. So good for the Pelicans.
I guess Alexander Walker gives you some points, but like Satoransky and what's this other guy's name? Didi Luzota. I don't think they're giving you much. I think that's just kind of like a salary dump. Yeah. Didi Luzota, he's played 5 games in the last 2 years. So, you know, I really think that the Pelicans won that trade. You've got veteran presence in CJ McCollum. You got, Tony Snell played a lot of good minutes on good Bulls, on good teams over his career, bouncing around. He was on that Bulls team that was going to the playoffs like every year. So he's got good experience for all these young guys. And Larry Nance Jr. is he's a good, solid role player that'll help you in almost any situation.
Really nice if the Bulls would have got him. That would have been a great pickup for them.
And you know what? We always think the Bulls are going to need a good pickup. It's, we're very biased in that situation.
Yeah, we are.
Next, Kings to get Sabonis from the Pacers. Pacers got Tyrese Halliburton, Buddy Hield, and Tristan Thompson. Kings got Domantas Sabonis, Justin Holiday, and Jeremy Lamb.
That's kind of even, actually.
I don't know.
A slight edge to the Kings. Just because Sabonis is a beast.
Were thinking because Tristan Thompson, how long has he been in the league? He's been here for a long time.
Too long.
Buddy Hield, I mean, I guess if they're looking to build around Buddy Hield and they think that he's like their way to the future. But I mean, Buddy Hield, it's been
supposed to go to the Lakers.
1, 2, 4, 5, 6.
The Lakers were going to go after him.
Buddy Hield's been in the league for 6 years, so he's going to be starting to hit his prime. So that's probably what they're thinking. They're thinking Buddy Hield is going to be the future of our team. We have high hopes of what he's going to do.
It's a good prediction. I agree with you. Buddy Hield's a good guy to build around. He's an upcoming shooting guard, like you said, sixth year in the league. I mean, he's going to be hitting that all-star caliber. He's a phenomenal shooter. So building around him, Malcolm Brogdon, and that rookie that they have in Indiana, I mean, I think that's a good start for them.
Then Tristan Thompson's just kind of he's been here for 10 years. We'll just take him. And then Tyrese Halliburton.
He's good. Halliburton's good.
He's played 2 years. He's averaging 20 points. So young guy. That's, good move on the Pacers. Kings got Sabonis and Justin Holiday and Jeremy Lamb. They're starting to make waves. They want to make that next step. Those are 3 good pieces for them to move forward with Marvin Bagley and De'Aaron Fox and all those guys over there.
Yeah, I think they're making a statement over there. That's good. I think Bagley was sitting on the bench for the beginning of the season, and then they fired Walton, and then they put him in, and they started to realize, there's a reason this guy was a top 2 pick in the draft. Yeah, no doubt.
They started playing pretty good once he got back in, and now they've got Sabonis and Holiday and Lamb to help spread out the wealth. think they'll be all right. I think they're
Yeah,
a team.
I think they'll be fine.
They're going to be a team to look to keep an eye out for in the next couple years.
Yeah, say next 2-3 years, Bill, Sabonis and De'Aaron Fox are gonna hit their primes in the next 2-3 years. So hoping that turns out for them, because I like the Kings and I think that they're enough. They're unfortunately they're stuck in the West, but I mean they have some potential.
They're stuck in with Warriors, Lakers,
The
and
Suns
Clippers.
and Suns and all those, Nuggets and Jazz. They're just
Just
stacked.
that even their conference, right?
Their conference, yeah, they'll never get out. They won't get out of their conference for the next 5 years, 5 seasons, whatever.
So next one that's on the list, Thunder add Okpala in the Heat trade. That was just a dump, nothing
Whatever.
special. Jazz acquired Alexander Walker Jazz got Alexander Walker from Portland and Ern Gomez via San Antonio. Blazers got Joe Ingles and Elijah Hughes.
Yeah, Joe Ingles is going to go back. He's going to be going back after he's bought out. That's what everyone is kind of saying. After he gets his contract bought out, he's going to go back to Utah.
And then the Spurs got Satoransky.
Or Satoransky. It's been thrown around.
Got bumped around a few times. So
I like Satoransky.
Portland still just trying to get some pieces, but I don't see them doing much with them. It's going to be tough for them to get anywhere at this point. They've fallen so far behind this year. Damian Lillard, he had that really rough start to the season. It really threw them off.
I know he loves Portland, man, but I really think he needs to get out of there, OB. I think he really needs to go to a mid-level or a veteran team, because you can't build around. Now it's just you and Nurkic. You can't build around you and Nurkic. It's not going to work. Not in the West. I think Dame needs to get out. I think he needs to go to, dude. He should go to the East. He should get out, man, because Portland is just doing him dirty, and Portland needs to be looking at themselves and saying, we need to start rebuilding, and we need to trade Damian Lillard to get some young pieces. Yeah, we got to get rid of, because Dame's got to go somewhere in the East, man. He needs to go in the East. He shouldn't stay in the West. Portland is just not the team that they used to. They're trading everybody. They got rid of McCollum. They got rid of Nance Jr. They got rid of Robert Cunningham.
Every time there was a big trade in Portland, we always said, after Aldridge left, Dame needs to leave. Batum left, Dame needs to leave. McCollum leaves now, Dame needs to leave. He's in his mindset that he can win it there. He wants to win it there. And I think he's just gotten comfortable. But
he's living in fantasy world, man. He needs to get the fuck out.
I mean, if he's willing to get, shafted and keep getting the runaround there by their management, they're gonna keep their star, their hero, as long as they can. As long as he's still getting them money, right?
Yeah, you're not wrong, but I think he's just, he's really hoping for the best, and the management's not working. I'd get rid of Dame. For Dame's sake, man. I mean, he doesn't want to make the same mistakes that a lot of guys stay in the league. Like there's some guys that stay on the team and trust the process.
Yep.
But Dame is 30 now. I mean, he needs to be going to another team. So, yeah. Moving on. Next trade.
Magic got Bol and Dozier from the Celtics. So Bol and Dozier plus a second-round pick and cash considerations for the 2023 second-round pick for the Celtics. Nothing much there.
Nothing there.
I like Bol being on the Magic, but that's about it. Raptors traded Dragic to the Spurs, so Thaddeus Young and Drew Eubanks went to the Raptors, and
Dragic has been bought out already. So the Spurs bought him out already. So there are a lot of rumor going around that the Bulls are going to pick him up.
I'll see.
Which would be nice, veteran point guard off the bench, maybe just until Caruso and Ball get back, But I like Dragic. He's in first time. He was an All-Star a couple years ago, and yeah, I mean, they bought him out, and hopefully he goes to a veteran team and gets a ring. So,
Suns got Aaron Holiday. Was this guy consideration? Nothing much there.
Yeah.
Torrey Craig to the Suns, and Jalen Smith to the Pacers. Nothing much.
Nope.
Montrezl Harrell to the Hornets.
That's big, man. That
Yep.
is big.
And
The
then,
Hornets have been looking for a big man for so long. They, Miles Plumlee. I mean, he's a good, like, off the bench big guy, right? Like, he's not a starting big guy. They don't really have that. Now they got Montrezl Harrell.
You got that.
And that's
that nose to the ground, hard worker, hustle player.
Oh yeah, I really think he's gonna find a home there.
Yep.
I really thought he was gonna find a home in Washington, but they obviously didn't think so, and they got rid of him. So.
Yeah, they got Ish Smith and Vernon Carey Jr.
Ish Smith's good. He's a good backup point guard.
The big one here, Bucks getting Serge Ibaka plus a couple
Big.
second round picks. Clippers getting Rodney Hood and Semi Ojeleye.
And
Hood,
Dante.
I've liked Rodney Hood for a while.
They got Dante DiVincenzo too, right?
Kings went to DiVincenzo.
Wow, that's a good pickup for the Kings.
Yep, DiVincenzo went
It's
to
a
the
really
Kings
good pickup for the Kings.
with Josh Jackson and Trey Lyles. So Kings are really made a lot of moves. I'm hoping that DiVincenzo kind of finds his footing again. He was struggling after coming back from his
injury,
his ankle injury in Milwaukee, and after he got hurt and they got why am I blanking on the name?
Who? Grayson Allen.
Bucks point guard.
Bucks got Grayson Allen. What are you talking about? Bucks point guard. I don't remember. Oh, George Hill.
No.
Who are you talking about, OB? Anyways, I think, they were really adamant about
Drew Holiday.
Oh, yeah, Drew Holiday. Oh, starting point guard. Oh, yeah, Drew Holiday.
Yeah, when they got Drew Holiday filled in that role really well. And when DiVincenzo came back, it's hard to move Drew Holiday out after he just dragged you all the way through the playoffs and got you a championship.
Yeah, they're really adamant about getting rid of. They were more adamant about getting rid of Dante because they have two Dante DiVincenzo's on that team already. You got Grayson Allen, who does the exact same thing, and then you have Pat Connaughton, who does the exact same thing too. So unfortunately, Dante was hurt, and unfortunately, because Grayson Allen's been playing so well, I thought we're just going to get rid of him.
Yep.
They're both young, and he's healthy, and he's showing more promise because Dante's been injured the last whatever long. So I agree with you. I hope Dante finds a home in Sacramento, but I think the Bucks are, adding Serge Ibaka. Are you kidding me?
Yep.
Like, dude. And I know Lopez is out, right? Is he still off?
I think he's still out indefinitely.
Yeah, he's still out. Then that's another rim protector. Imagine trying to attack the basket with Giannis and Serge Ibaka waiting there. Hey-oh, good luck with that. That ain't gonna happen. So Bucks won that trade by a landslide, in my opinion. The problem is Serge Ibaka's got to stay healthy. He was having problems staying healthy and with the Clippers. And when the Clippers were fully healthy with Kawhi Leonard and Paul George and Reggie Jackson, they were clicking on all cylinders. They were arguably the best team in the West when they were all healthy.
Yep.
And you had veterans like Nicola Batum and stuff that filled the roles there. But now, Serge Ibaka on the Bucks, that's a different ball game. I'm hoping Serge can stay healthy, and I hope he can still be the dominant big man that he was in OKC and a little bit for the Clippers.
They don't need him to do much. They just need him to be a presence, right?
That's all they need him to be. And they got Bobby Portis. Oh my God, they're stacked. Yep. The Bucks are. I think the Bucks are going to win it all again this year. Honestly,
we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Right,
we got some other big trades that are coming up here. Daniel Tice to the Celtics, and Rockets got Dennis Schroeder, Freedom, and Fernando. That wasn't too much because they already released Freedom, or they were planning on it last time I saw. Celtics getting Derek White, and Spurs getting Josh Richardson and Romeo Langford.
That's a big trade right there. That's a big trade. I think the Celtics won that trade, personally. I don't know why the Spurs would want to get Josh Richardson. He's a little bit mid-level player. He's kind of like in his prime-ish. But Derek White was really doing well with the Spurs. I thought he fit that system really well. But I think just because DeJounte Murray's been playing really well, and I think they're trying to move Lonnie Walker up and get him more minutes. I think that just made sense to trade him. And you got guys like Josh Richardson, who's kind of a veteran-ish type of player. Like, he's been in the league for a handful times, and he could really bring some shooting. And I think that's what the Spurs are struggling with, because their only dominant shooter on the Spurs right now is Doug McDermott, and you need at least 2 or 3 to really solidify yourself.
Yeah. Well, Dougie Boy has been playing really well.
Phenomenal. Dougie
Yeah.
Boy's been playing out of his mind.
I
Glad he found a home.
I know. Watching him play the other night, I looked at Michelle and I was just like,
why did the Bulls get rid of him?
I'm like, he really did not play well when we had him for 3 years in a row.
Takes the players a lot of times to get going. I think when he went to Indiana, he really built himself up there. And then
I think
coming to the Spurs.
Yeah, finding himself in that system in the Spurs, I think
he's able to thrive.
Yep.
He's that type of player that thrives in a system. He's not, not everybody can be a Spur. That's what everybody needs to realize. And you need to be willing to buy into a system.
Not everyone can be a shooter on a Tom Thibodeau Bulls team.
Yeah, exactly.
That was a rough start for him. But another pretty big one, Mavericks and Wizards, Spencer Dinwiddie and Davis Bertans for the Mavericks. Wizards got Kristaps. Sad that didn't work out with Kristaps and Luka. I think we all thought that was going to be a lot bigger of a combo, a good pick and roll, pick and pop, with between those two. But, hopefully Kristaps does find something, because ever since that ACL tear he had, he's just not been the same. And
yeah,
it's
man.
so unfortunate because he was playing so well before that happened.
Yeah, I think this trade really had me shaking my head, Obrakta. I don't know why they made this trade. It was a very stupid trade. You're trading for Spencer Dinwiddie, who has been injured the last whatever years. Finally, they sign him to go to Washington to be Bradley Beal's backup. Bradley Beal gets hurt for the rest of the season now. And now they have Spencer Dinwiddie. And then you got a bunch of young pieces and with the Wizards. Then they got rid of Montrezl Harrell. It was weird because the Wizards started out really well this season. They started out really well, and then they just completely dipped. And they have a lot of good pieces on that team. And I'm just really surprised with that trade, because you're trading to get another point guard when A, you have Luka, and B, you have a backup point guard like Jalen Brunson, who, shout out to Stevenson High School. I mean, he's up and coming, and he's put up significant numbers when Luka was hurt. So I don't know why they were trying to get Dinwiddie.
Yeah.
And then you bring Porzingis over to the Wizards. It's like, okay, well, we lost Montrezl Harrell. Now we're going to try to bring in Porzingis and see what he can do. And like you said, since that injury, he hasn't been the same player. And I don't know. It was just a very stupid. Out of all the trades that you said, that's probably the dumbest trade out of the entire deadline that I was just shaking my head saying that was stupid. What's the point of that? None of this makes any sense. So I hate that trade.
Well, and the very last trade, the one I never thought was going to happen, 76ers getting James Harden and Paul Millsap. And that's getting Ben Simmons, Seth Curry, Andre Drummond, 2022 first round pick and 2027 first round pick.
Gave up way too much. Way too much. Way too much for James Harden. I'm sorry. They gave up way too much.
I mean, they held out. There were better offers earlier on for Ben Simmons than this.
It's bad, man.
You could have gotten, there was so many better options that you could have gotten for Ben Simmons that were thrown out there early on that didn't cost you two first round picks and one of your better shooters and a nice back to the basket center.
I just can't even believe
76ers
James Harden
won that. 76ers, I think, in the short term, won that trade. James Harden's going to come back after the All-Star break. He's going to be healthier. Paul Millsap is a great pickup for them as a shooter.
Yeah, but they're going to release him. They're going to release Paul Millsap, dude. I think they will.
I don't think they will. He's too important. He's been like the sixth man on that Nets team this whole season. He's going to be such an asset to them. They need a shooter now. They got rid of Seth Curry. They need a shooter. So he'll fill that role, 3 and D. He'll turn it on. He'll get you 20 points on any given night. James Harden, he'll do great things, pick and pop with Embiid.
Yeah.
I think in the short term, they're going to win that. I know that James Harden, they missed the deadline for his contract extension. So so now they've got to come up with a whole new contract for him.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
So that's going to be Harden. But I mean, right now, where the 76ers, they're fifth in the East. It's so tight. You know, you can say Celtics are sixth in the East, but they're still only 3.5 games behind the Heat and the Bulls.
Yeah, you're not wrong,
So,
man.
76ers are only 2.5 games behind them. So, if they can come back and they can get some good chemistry going between Embiid and Harden, you got rid of the dark cloud over your head with Ben Simmons, for the whole season.
Yeah,
I think you got a good chance to make a run there towards the end, as long as they
maybe.
get their stuff back together. But Ben Simmons, I don't know when he's going to actually end up playing, because a lot of people are saying after All-Star break, but dude, he hasn't played in 10 months.
Yeah, I don't
He's
know what's
not.
gonna happen.
I don't think he's like Kyrie Irving, who's probably been in the gym every freaking day, working his butt off, being ready for that call to be like, "Hey, we're ready for you to play again." Yeah, Kyrie took what 10 months off, not even 8 months, and he came back in and he was playing like he never stopped.
Never playing
Ben
like he never left.
Simmons was already having troubles shooting and scoring the basketball in like crunch time and high moments. His numbers had already been dropping off, and then he sat out for 10 months. I don't I don't think Ben's gonna be he doesn't have to be the main guy anymore. He doesn't have to be that first option scorer that they would need him to be in the 76ers, because they got Kevin Durant. Once Kevin Durant comes back from injury.
Yeah, man. I don't know. This trade was a little. I think it was pretty even on both sides, personally. I mean, James Harden could finally be the player he loves to be, which is a selfish ball hog. And he could do that in Philly now, because now all the attention when he was with Brooklyn was going to Kevin Durant and sometimes going to Kyrie. If you look at that, James Harden was really third option on that team, and James Harden doesn't like that. So now that James Harden can be the dominant guard that he can be, and then he's got arguably the MVP on his team, I think they could make a run. I think they can make it to the Eastern Conference Finals, and I think the Bucks will beat them. But that's my prediction. On the other side, if Ben Simmons actually plays, then I think Brooklyn is gonna, and if everybody's healthy in Brooklyn, they're gonna dominate. But that's not gonna happen. Ben Simmons he penetrates and he sucks the defense in, and he's a great passer, and he has so many shooters around him now. He's got Kyrie, he's got Durant, he's got Joe
Kyrie's
Harris.
only going to be playing 8 more games this year, plus only half the games in the playoffs, because he can't play any of the home games.
Yeah, you're
And
right.
that's if they play anybody that, if New York, they're not going to get their heads out of their asses or anything like that. But if New York was there, and if it became a Nets versus Knicks in the playoffs, then Kyrie wouldn't be able to play any of them. So you'd have a whole series without Kyrie if they ended up playing the Knicks.
Yeah, overall, Ben Simmons. They got Seth Curry, great pickup, and I think Andre Drummond's a great pickup too. So overall, if everybody plays their potential, it'll be good.
You got a future with 2 future round picks.
Yeah, so I think overall, I think it's even. If everybody stays healthy and plays their role, it was a pretty even trade. But I'd say you're right. That's the big trade.
I think short term, if Harden and Millsap are 100% right after, I think 76ers had the better deal in the short term, but the Nets definitely have the better long term, especially with Seth Curry, and he's gonna be he's gonna be good. He's gonna be shooting for them for a while. They're not gonna want to get rid of a shooter like that. Plus, you got a first round pick this year, and then a first round pick in a couple years in 2027.
Right. Yeah.
No, you're not.
No. Yeah, I think they're good. But yeah, man. Overall trade deadline was it was a good trade deadline. There was a lot of shocking things, a lot of pieces moving around, a lot of guys bouncing around, and I think overall it was mostly positive for all the teams. A couple I scratched my head, and then a couple I'm like, okay, whatever. So is what it is. But overall, 2022 trade deadline was one for the Bucks. I'll tell you that.
Yep. All right, and then we got to give our congratulations to our good man DeMar DeRozan.
DeMar DeRozan. No.
Yeah.
It's King of the Fourth.
King of the
King of the
Fourth,
Fourth. Debo.
the Marvelous,
DeMarvelous.
DeMar
D
DeRozan with a 40
MVP or
piece
whatever.
with a 40 piece on Valentine's Day.
God, the guy's a beast.
Just he's now, he might arguably be, some people say, might be the best shooting guard in Chicago Bulls history. Got three. I just messed with you. You got three. You got six games of 35 points or more on 50% shooting. That's one more than Michael Jordan. We'll see if he continues that streak tonight. I mean, he has been keeping this Bulls team afloat
with all the injuries and shit. Yeah,
Caruso out, Lonzo Ball out, Zach LaVine now out. He's running like Kobe White stepping up, helping out. I don't know what else DeMar could be doing. He's hitting that mid range like it's nothing. He's blowing past his defenders. He's breaking the double teams. He's just out of his mind. I cannot.
King of the mid range, baby. King of the mid range.
Watching live from the third balcony at the United Center, just watching him work and watching the plays develop. I don't know how he has the court vision to break down the defenses like that, because I watching from a bird's eye view thought that he could like make some of the plays that he was doing.
He's got a phenomenal footwork, OB.
It was absolutely insane.
His footwork is phenomenal. I mean, you see the way he just gets to his spot. He rises up in the mid range. He uses his pivot really well by splitting guys. I mean, he's just, he's really, people say, like I said, man, people are saying that it was a bad pickup and he's the worst pickup trade, blah, 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 blah. But overall, man, I mean, he's really showing his worth right now, and he is in the MVP. He's a top 5 in the MVP race. So how many games in a row has he had? What, more than 35 points? Is that what it is?
6 games in a row with 35 points or more on 50% shooting.
That's insane. That's insane.
And Michael Jordan was the only other player to do that, and he had 5 in a row.
Yeah, well, I'm glad DeMar is doing well. I mean, with LaVine being out, he being the main offense. I mean, and then like you said, Kobe White's coming starting for them, and he's putting up some good numbers. Vucevic is starting to get out of his shell a little bit. Derrick Jones Jr. just came back healthy, so
starting now.
Yeah. Oh yeah, phenomenal.
Javonte Green is starting. So this lineup, considering that you have a second round rookie starting, what's Kobe White in his 3rd year, 4th year now?
Third.
Yeah, 3rd year. Just come back from an injury. He's starting. Vucevic, DeRozan are your people that you expect to be starting veterans. And you have Javonte Green, who came out of nowhere starting. This is a ragtag team that is playing like a team of all-stars, and they're keeping their heads high. They've had a little bit of an easier stretch with the injuries, but I mean, they've been right there with even the best teams, even when they're losing. It's not like they're getting blown out against these great teams. So I'm excited to see what DeMar does and keep going. I still can't believe that people were saying that he was washed up before this year. Everyone had him underrated. I never bought it for a second, and I'm just smiling as all the haters get their talking points washed away.
Haters gonna hate Obrakta. That the reason they think that was because DeMar was in San Antonio for 3 years and he played in a system and he was kind of forgotten. He was kind of like that old veteran that got his points here and there, and that's those seasons with the Spurs he had the most assists, but now he's turning to that player like he was back in Toronto. He's a lot more polished as a player, and he's just, the mid-range game is just his domain right now, and he's doing great. So,
and you're gonna start seeing a lot more players start doing that mid-range because they're seeing how he's tearing apart. He's close enough to the basket where one drive past the double team and he's wide open for a layup, or a quick step, hard cut step back, and he's wide open at the elbow. You're gonna see a lot more players start doing that type of stuff again. We got so far away from it with mid range. You need to be right up to the, a layup or a 3-point for efficiency. And you're watching a man hit 10, 15 foot jump shots at 50% click because he's getting himself open with good footwork, fundamentals, and good teamwork of passing the ball and getting to the open man.
Yeah, man. I mean, last thing I'll say is DeMar DeRozan the best mid-range shooter in the league right now?
I would say debatably yes. He's at least top 3, but
Yes, I agree.
I would say personally I think he's probably the most fundamental mid-range shooter.
Yeah, I would say the best mid-range shooters are him, Kevin Durant, and Chris Paul for sure. Yep. I would say those are my top 3.
And
I would say.
I think DeRozan probably gets his own mid-range shot a lot better than Chris Paul does. Durant, I think Durant just has the height because DeRozan's
6'6",
6'6", Durant's 7 foot.
Yep.
I mean, who's guarding a 7-footer in the mid-range? That's
big man.
Impossible.
Yeah.
And to watch a 6'6" guard just tear it up in the mid-range, that's just true fundamentals and true work like ethic. And I'm just happy that the Bulls were able to get him and the Lakers didn't want him. I can't say anything else besides that.
Yeah, Lakers messed up, man. They pushed for Russell Westbrook so hard that they gave up guys like DeMar DeRozan and Buddy Hield. Yeah,
and Caruso. They could have had all 3 of them.
Oh my God! Thank you for giving us Caruso, man. Oh Lord, I got his jersey in my closet. I love that guy. But overall, man, good. I think we're good, right?
I think that that should do it for this podcast. So everyone, thanks for tuning in. Like, comment, subscribe, do whatever you feel like doing if you've made it this far, and we'll see you on the next one. Thank you for watching this episode of Coach Mike and OB. Full episodes of this podcast will be released every Monday, and segments such as this will be released every Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Please leave a comment, like, and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching.